What's going on, Dolphins? It is your boy Dillon, and I'm making this video. I wasn't going to make this video tonight. This is going to be my recap video for episode 2 of Hard Knocks, because obviously that went live today. And I wasn't going to do it until tomorrow, but I just decided, you know what, fuck it. I'm going to do it tonight because it's fresh, and I really want to talk about it. So, let me get a couple things out of the way, and then we'll obviously talk about the big thing. So they obviously, like last time, they showed some stuff about practice leading up to the game. There was, coach interactions with the team and stuff like that, which was always fun to see. It's always fun to see Mike McDaniel and these coaches talk to the guys. You get, into the meeting rooms a bit more and stuff too. And, happy Thanksgiving. There was a moment of, what are you thankful for in the quarterback room, and, all these different things. One of the best parts of it was Mike McDaniel when he was recounting what happened during the Raiders game to him, which was fucking hilarious. And if you haven't seen it, there's at least clips up on social media. If you haven't watched Hard Knocks, or if you're not gonna watch Hard Knocks, at least fucking watch the clip, because it was hilarious. It was absolutely fucking hilarious. But he was talking about what happened to him, and this is what he said. Because I tweeted out his quote exactly when I heard it in the show. I stopped for a moment and tweeted out, and this is what he said. He just, because I think it was tight end Michael Mayer from the Raiders. It was during the Raiders game, and he was like, he just roundhouse kicked me in the shoulder. I had to act like it didn't hurt. It hurt like a motherfucker, and I got hit in the dick. So I feel like I'm gonna puke right now. And it was fucking hilarious. And this is our coach on the sideline, and he's sitting there talking to the other coaches and stuff on the headset, and this is what he's saying to these guys, dude. Like, it's absolutely fucking hilarious. And just real quick too, I want to make the point. Look, so there's been a lot of talk, especially this year, when it comes to NFL head coaches, like things going on with Bill Belichick and some of these other coaches that have been fired recently, and so on and so forth. And one of the common trends that you're seeing is that these older coaches that coach in the old ways, that take the approach that, the hard ass, like, dictatorial fucking kind of approach that a lot of these coaches, these older coaches continue to take. It's just outdated, and it doesn't work. We live in a world that is way more inclusive, way more encompassing, way more thoughtful. Like, I know there are a lot of people out there that would say shit like, oh, it's the world getting soft. I don't think that at all. I think it's a strength to, acknowledge weaknesses, to help each other, to support each other, those sorts of things, right? Like, I think all of that is, and acknowledging, your players as more than just commodities, right? As more than just numbers, as more than just dollar signs, right? As recognizing them as actual people. And that's one of the things, and we'll get to it in a minute, that made this episode so great was, the whole Jaelan Phillips story. But we'll get to more of that in just a minute. I thought that part was fucking amazing because I love our head coach. I think he's a fucking awesome guy. And just the simple fact that he's being himself always and forever, no matter what. He's super genuine. That's amazing. I love his personality, and I'm not one of those kinds of people that gets all butthurt over curse words. Like, I curse a lot myself, and I think it's fun. I think it's exciting. I think it's, I don't know. I mean, obviously older generations don't like cursing, and they have their whole things about it, and, to each his own and everything, but I think it's silly that people get all bent out of shape. I think it just makes life that much more fun and exciting and expressive and so on and so forth. And they're words, man. They're just words. But they help you to express to the fullest extent. Anyway, real quick, before I get into the Jaelan Phillips thing, there was a good quote from Ramsey that I tweeted out too, where he's like, fuck all that one score shit in the fourth quarter and all that. Let's beat they ass. This shit ain't gotta be close at all. And that was Ramsey talking at halftime, telling the team, like, bro, let's just go fucking smack these dudes in the mouth. Let's get this shit done. And then there was one more where Tua said in the huddle right before Mostert scored his first rushing touchdown, he's like, I'd love to surf here. I'd love to surf, right? Being like, hey, let's get a fucking touchdown, Mostert. Come on. And then, of course, not only does he, but he had to, bounce to the outside and also break tackles in order to do so. So, he paid his quarterback back kindly there. But anyway, let's go ahead and get into the Jaelan Phillips stuff, because obviously that was the big highlight from this episode was, talking about Jaelan Phillips and his whole journey. By the way, they also did a quick, just so I don't forget to mention it, they did do a quick, and since I forgot to mention it last time too, in the last episode, in the first episode, they did talk about Tyreek Hill's hand injury, but that's obviously fine and not a super big deal. But I did forget to mention it in my recap from last video, so that's why I just brought it up. But I do want, so I don't forget about it, I did want to mention Jalen Ramsey also going on to the Inside the NFL show, talking to Channing Crowder and Ryan Clark about like his nickname as advertised and where it came from, back in Pee Wee days and stuff like that. Anyway, back to Jaelan Phillips. But God, man, and I'll keep it real, bro. Like that whole second half of the episode, I was bawling my eyes out, bro, because that shit was so fucking sad. And it's like, early on in the first half of the episode, obviously there was more to the episode than just Jaelan Phillips, but a good half of the episode basically was dedicated to him overall, with him being sprinkled in little bits here in the first half of the episode, and then the second half of the episode being pretty dominantly centered around him, because even during the game clips, they were highlighting him a lot. And in this episode, the early parts of it were the storytelling of Jaelan Phillips' background, and they were going through all that stuff about how, he had all those injuries, the concussions, the accident he got into, and, he medically retired, but he loves football, and so he came back. And, obviously went from UCLA to Miami and had a good career in Miami. And then, we took him, and he was battling injuries this year. And, even before the game, Mike McDaniel said something to him like, this is your game, man. God, it's just, look, I'm just going to say this briefly. I'm not a religious person. I know a lot of people out there say, people who believe in God and stuff like that say that this is God's plan, and it's all part of the plan. I find it rough to accept plans where the plan is this devastating. You know what I'm saying? And it's part of the reason, honestly, why I don't believe in God. Because if God's plan, because look, and this is all I'll say on it is that I believe that God either doesn't exist or he's the biggest asshole in the world. Because if God's plan is for this and, take the world as a whole, there's so much suffering. But if God's plan is this devastating, I don't really want a part of it, if I'm being honest with you. But that's all I'll say on that. Look, at the end of the day, it's just so heartbreaking because, Mike McDaniel's like, this is your game to really, and he's been having a good fucking season after he did finally get back healthy from the oblique and the back injury, those lingering things. And, during my live stream of the game when I was watching it and initially when he first went down, but even before the replay, I was like, oh man, I just had a feeling that it was either an ACL or an Achilles injury. I was leaning towards Achilles, but then when they showed the replay and you could visibly see it, like you could see the Achilles fucking pop. And I just knew, and then obviously they confirmed it. But dude, during this Hard Knocks episode, getting the really behind the scenes shit though, and really getting tied in and getting to hear him and see him on the field, like when he went down and he was sitting there and he's like, dude, I popped, it popped. He knew too, like, it was so rough, man. It was so rough. Like I said, I was bawling my eyes out for the whole second half of that. And he's like, why? I can't believe it. Why, bro? And, he was talking throughout about how his confidence had been hurting and he was finally starting to feel not just healthy, but confident. And it sucks because as a person, I mean, look, at the end of the day, at least for him, he's a professional athlete that's going to get the best, medical help. And, I love that Aaron Rodgers reached out to him because hopefully he can get the same treatment that Aaron Rodgers did. It seems to be a pretty cutting edge treatment. That, could help speed recovery. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean he's going to be back this year. I mean, that still doesn't seem like it would be realistic, but, it could certainly speed his recovery, and he could be ready to go well before like training camp and so on and so forth. But it's so heartbreaking because he's put in so much, and I understand, like, but what I was gonna say is, and he does make a lot of money and stuff like that. So he does have those things. So that's good, and it's fortunate. He's obviously got family, friends, his teammates that are gonna be there to support him, and that helps so much because as a person who has spent my entire life basically doing everything on my own, but also having everything go like horribly wrong in my life, despite the fact that I've been a good person and worked super hard, I understand what it's like to feel like the world is just completely caving in on you. And it sucks. It fucking sucks, bro. And like, I just feel so bad for him because, again, not just getting healthy, but starting to gain that confidence again. And to have something like that happen, it's just absolutely crushing and, devastating. And, I mean, I don't know. Like, another thing, I don't have a problem admitting that I cried the second half of that episode, bro, because I'm an empathetic person. And, God, just... That was a hard episode to watch, bro. Like, that was a hard fucking episode to watch during that, especially on the field. When he was on the field and it happened, bro. And, like, it sucked, too, because leading up to it, obviously, I knew what was going to happen because we obviously already knew. It happened, days ago, right? I mean, we're only a couple days away from it being a week ago, right? So it's like... I felt so bad for him, man. I felt so bad. It's crushing. Obviously, from a Dolphins perspective overall, they signed JPP, Jason Pierre-Paul, and, I think that the Dolphins are going to be fine, but it's so devastating. But here's the thing, man. This is how I'm going to end it. Okay? So, obviously, I haven't been making videos this entire season. My life's been kind of a mess, but, I decided to get back into it because the Dolphins season, to me, this season feels special. Excuse me. Excuse me. This season feels special, so I wanted to be a part of it from this, aspect, from a content creator's perspective again. So I started making, shows. And if you've seen my videos these past, couple weeks, I think the Dolphins are going to go far. I do. And if you've known me from my channel over the past several years, it wasn't always like that. I got a reputation as being a negative Dolphins fan and content creator because I just was, expressing what I felt to be the truth, which turned out to very much be the truth about our organization and, certain individuals like Brian Flores, et cetera, et cetera. So, I was just being real and honest with people and telling them like it was and how I saw it. Well, things have changed. And I've given credit to, Stephen Ross and Mike McDaniel and from the top down because I think they have changed things. And I think that this roster and this team, this coaching staff is special. And as much as this sucks that Jaelan Phillips gets hurt, I think that this team is going to use it as a rallying cry to be even that much better, bro. And honestly, I think that they're going to it's hard to predict exactly what's going to happen, but I think that they stand a damn good chance to go out there and win out, bro. Go 14-3, somehow manage to fucking get that number 1 seed. Kansas City Chiefs drop one game down the stretch. They just need to drop one. And I know it's a tough stretch for Miami, and it's not a very tough stretch for KC. But a lot of things have gone right overall for the Dolphins this year. And like I said, this year just feels special to me. And I don't know, bro. I got a feeling, man. Like the Dolphins are good. You know, we'll take it one time. I'll do obviously my preview videos and then my path to the playoff videos each week. And we'll see how things play out down the stretch. And I'll be realistic about it. But right now, and in the emotional moment that I'm in after having watched that, I'm going to go ahead and fucking just have some fun with it and take it to the max, bro, and say that this team is going to use it as a rallying cry. They're going to go undefeated the rest of this fucking season. They're going to end up 14-3. The Chiefs are going to drop one at some point. And not only will they dispel the notion of not being able to beat good teams, they'll beat Baltimore on the road, and they'll get that number 1 seed. They'll get that first round bye. They'll get even healthier. They'll get playoff home field advantage throughout the playoffs. And then they will go to motherfucking Vegas in February. And they will take down whoever it is, bro. And you know what? It can be the motherfucking Eagles. It could be the Niners. It could be the Lions. I don't care who it is. This Dolphins team is going to win that fucking Super Bowl, baby. We are going to get that dub. We are going to raise that Lombardi trophy. And they are going to get motherfucking rings. And Jaelan Phillips at the end of the season, even though his season ended and he's not going to be able to play in that game with his brothers, he will be on that sideline. And he will be there with his brothers. And he will get to celebrate with his brothers. And he will get himself one of those motherfucking rings, baby. Let's go. And that's how I'm going to end this motherfucking video. Let's go, Miami, all the way to the fucking Super Bowl to raise that fucking Lombardi Phins up.
7 seconds left. Tannehill will throw it. And this will end it after the shuttle. Miami runs around. Short quick. Oh, no. Gronkowski did not be able. Taken place here in South Florida. The Dolphins have done it. They keep their season alive. 69 yards. Wow. Pure joy. Miami wins it.